Hello, good afternoon students. How are you? What's going on? So, I think we have learned very well about the second chapter of history. If you have any doubt, query, then you can ask frankly, no problem about it. So, in a history, we are using the past evidences for as our inspirational things, inspirational thoughts for inspire our future. So today we are going to see the third chapter of our history subject, that applied history. So what is applied history? Basically we have to know first what is mean by applied history. So applied history means we have to use history in our day-to-day life, in our routine, in our business, in our career, and we have to get developed well. So for that, how we can use in every field there is a history. How history is useful for the in a section of business, how history is useful in the section of in the field of labor, how history is useful in the use of in the section of employment. So in these all sections, history is useful with it's their base, with their information that we are going to see now today. So today our lesson name is applied history that we are going to see, and then after we are going to see what is applied history. So our title, our name of the lesson is applied history. So applied history means we are going to see applied means we have to use, we have to apply it in our daily routine. Apply means we have to use it, very essential, very useful for our job, our in occupation, our in our business that we are going to see. So lesson number 3rd of history, applied history. So first we are going to see what is applied history. What is applied history? So let us know the definition in our own words. So mainly I already told you that history, we have to use history in our daily routine and in our future life, in our businesses. That is called use of history, is called applied history. But what is a text definition that we are going to see? Applied history is also known as a public history. Applied history is a field of study concerned with the application of history for the benefit of people in contemporary and future times. Suppose maybe one of the field is there, and in that field, suppose our job is there, our employment is there, our business is there. In that field, we have to use our historical knowledge. We have to use history for our development. That is called applied history. So again one time I am reading the definition which is given in the book. So applied history is also known as public history, another name of it, because it is useful or essential for the public have to use well. So applied history is the field of study of concern with the application for history for the benefit of the people in contemporary and future times. In contemporary for the specific time also, and in future also for your development in your field, you can use the knowledge of history. Okay. So knowledge of history is useful as it can provide guidance in finding solution in contemporary social issues and importance them in a social planning. So what is the use of history? So main use of history as provide guidance in finding solution, and second one, so contemporary social issues and also the incorporate them in the social planning. While we are plan something while living to society, it is useful. History is very useful for planning and solving the social issues also. Knowledge of history is essential for this purpose. Next, the projects and programs related to applied history can create opportunities for the people to participate along with the technical expert. Many other projects are there in a field of history, in applied history, so that can give an opportunity of employment for other people with the experts. The participation in capacity of tourists visiting museum and ancient site also important. Tourism creates interest in history among the people. They can volunteer to participate in the conservation and preservation projects of their own city, town or village. See, again one time I want to tell you, tourism creates interest in history among people. Many of the tourists visiting to our country, our famous places or national heritage, world heritage sites, and that time many people from our village or our city, they get interested and they get engaged into the work got by the tourists. For example, as a guide we can work, we can open any shop, we can sell many things to the tourists, we can sell books for them. So these are the things we can do and we can get employment. So here main point is the participation in the capacity of tourist visiting museum and ancient sites is also important, because what it do, tourist creates interest in the history among the people. They can volunteer to participate in the conservation and preservation projects of our own town and village. So many people who get employment near the tourist place, so they can do work with that as a conservation of the tourist site, also preservation of the nearest site which is open for the tourist. So it is interesting to know about more public history that we are going to see. People have a lot of misgivings about the practically of the knowledge of history. People have misgiving or misunderstanding, or they don't have a particular knowledge about history. So what we have to do, see, for example, history is usually thought as field of interest only for the historians and students wishing to pursue higher studies in the subject and not pertaining to practical life. Okay. So many of the people have the misgiving or misunderstanding about history, or student also. See, student what they say history is only essential for the study in a class, and it is not useful in our future, and it is not useful in a practical life. This is the thought, and history is only essential for the study in a higher classes. But how history will help you in the future in your career, that they don't know the background. So this is one of the misgiving they kept with them. So we are going to see how history is essential for the all sections. So pertaining the practical life, history as not pertaining to practical life, history as a field of knowledge does not have any applicability to economically productive fields. So many are thinking that history is not essential for the economically productive fields. In the practical work, we cannot get through history any work, and we cannot earn money. So this is the not useful for the economical production. But they are thinking same as the history is only for the historians, authors who are writing the books. So this is totally wrong. History is very essential and inspiring for the each field that we are going to see in this lesson. So public history helps to overcome such misgivings and makes a history meaningful in everyday life, connecting people to history. Suppose we have a well knowledge and information about history, then we can solve these type of all misgivings, and we can overcome through these type of problems through learning well history. There are many universities abroad where the various courses in the public history are offered. Srishti Institute of Art, Design and Technology is an institute at Bengaluru, Karnataka. This institute has an independent department named Center for Public History, This department has taken up various projects and research in the field of public history. So there is one of the special field is there in Bengaluru's Srishti Institute of Art and Technology. So there people can learn specially subject, the public history. So we have a much scope for learning this. So next we are going to see second 3.2, that paragraph name is applied history and research in various fields. Applied history and research in various fields. Okay, we are going to see firstly applied history and research in various fields, in which field very essential research have done already in the past, that we are going to see now. History is about the past events, the way our present lifestyle is shaped is dependent on the historical chain of the event. So your life, your future is totally dependent on the past events which arranged by chronological order, and totally you are getting inspired to that, and you are working in present through taking the base of history. Next one we are going to see historical events relate to various fields like politics, social and religious structure of community, philosophy, technology and science, etc. So there are many fields and about them, and there is a history of these all fields. See, I am going to tell you again one time. Historical events relate to various fields. So there are historical events in these following points. So following topics, which are they? Politics, social and religious structure of community, philosophy, technology and science. There is history in these all fields. Each of these fields have their own history of building knowledge. The direction of future development in every field is dependent on the state of available knowledge. Hence, the method of history can prove to be valued in the research of various fields. For example, first we are going to see philosophy. So before that, I want to tell you again, if you have a previous knowledge about particular field, for example science, if you have done few experiment already based on previous knowledge which from the past, so then you can work in present and in future also you can invent many things. So every time it is necessary that you must learn something from your past, then you will work in present and future. So in history we are taking the knowledge building field dependent on the available knowledge. Whatever available knowledge is there, we are already got from history. On the basis of that, we are working in a next event. Yes, here we have learned that applied history and research in various fields. I told you now all these. In that first field we are going to learn philosophy. Philosophy is one of the first field. So philosophy. Okay, first one, philosophy. First topic we are going to see in a field of research. So in this field the research is made by the historians. So what research? So history of philosophy we are going to see. The history of philosophy helps in understanding the origin of various ideologies. So many the ideologies are there, many the books are there based on our Indian philosophy. For example, I want to tell you first, we are worshipping to many of the gods. We are using Ved and other things, Upanishads, for our learning of our information. So about this, where these all things, when these all things took birth or their origin, that we are going to see. The history of philosophy helps the understanding origin of various ideologies. Origin is the birth of these things. The intellectual tradition giving a rise to those ideologies and their historical development. Philosophy needs language as a medium of expression. In order to understand the philosophical expressions, knowledge of the history of language proves useful. Suppose you want to know about any ideologies, for example Ved and Upanishads, so that time you must know the history, and for reading that or collecting that philosophical knowledge you must have well language to understand it or to read it. And also for philosophical expression, if you want to express your philosophical thoughts, you must have a knowledge of history of language proves useful. History of language. Suppose you have one of the language that you are using for expression of your philosophical thought, that time you must have the knowledge of the history of language. So very useful for expression of the philosophical thought. So next one point we are going to see the field in that the historians made the research, science. We well know about the science, but we have to find out the origin, the what exactly the inventions were took place. That we have to find out. Then we must have the history. We must know the history of science. So the history of science helps in understanding the chronological order of scientific discoveries. Many of the scientific discoveries were there, inventions were there, but when they exactly invented, to know that we must have the knowledge or we must know the history of science. Inventions and theories also. So in that, discoveries, invention and theories, with a chronological order we have to study that those all. It can also help to understand to cause and effect chain that led to those discoveries and invention. If we want to study the science, if we go into the field of science, we have to choose the science. Then before that we must know the history of science, and then we can get a knowledge about the benefits, the positive points and negative points of any discovery and invention, means causes and effects. It is said that need is the mother of invention. We have well introduced about one of the famous thought in English, that it is the necessity is the mother of invention. So need is the mother of invention. So if we have any need, then we will work, we will act, then anything will create new, anything we will do new. So that is called an invention, that is called discovery. It is said that need is the mother of invention. Scientific discoveries, inventions are often the effect of human efforts to fulfill a need and also curiosity. Why we are doing efforts? That time we must know that we are doing efforts for fulfilling our needs, our efforts to make our work easy, to save time and energy. So next one, these efforts are based on already available scientific knowledge. If we have scientific knowledge, means the history of science, we well know about history of science, then we will work about in that particular field. Suppose I also want to do any invention, that time I must have knowledge, must had a knowledge about a particular invention or particular efforts did on that field, on that invention. So then available knowledge, whatever base or related available knowledge is there, on the basis of that I will work in the present or future. So these efforts are based on already available scientific knowledge. Knowledge of history of science helps understanding the factors that are facilitated the scientific discovery, invention, and also its chronology. So through the knowledge of history of science, if we have already, then we will understand the chronology of the science and we will get to know more information about the discoveries and the invention, and then we will work in that field and we will create something new. Okay, so through this we can learn this much. Okay students, now next one field is technology that we are going to see. So mainly technology and science, these are both correlated subjects that we are studying now. So how the knowledge of history of technology, very essential in the field of technology that we are going to see now. The history of technology helps in understanding the changes and their causes in the field of agricultural production. Whenever the agricultural products or the mechanisms, so machines we know about them. The tractors are there, new plugs are there. So with the technology they have introduced. Also we well know about how to take more production from particular or minimum seed, how to take more production about sugarcane, about the corn, about this. So what technology has introduced today's age that we are going to see. So in the field of agricultural production, commodity production, and also architecture, engineering, etc., scientific discoveries and inventions and technological achievements are mutually dependent on each other. Scientific discoveries and invention and technological changes, the new technologies, these are both correlated to each other, they are based on each other. And also we can learn, if we know the history of a technology, we can learn the causes of any new invention or any new technology. So here we are going to see technological achievements are mutually dependent on each other. Knowledge of science and technology was very important at every step, from making the stone tools of agricultural production in the evolution of mankind. Later, the advancement of science promoted the mechanization of production. We well know about that. I think so in 3rd standard or 4th standard we already learned that the evolution of mankind. So in that they have invented the stone tools for the agriculture and they used it. But now through that period to still now, many were the changes occurred in the field of agriculture, and today we have very well mechanism for the work of for the farm, in the field of agriculture. So in that we can see the tractors, plugs, any other mechanisms, we can sowing seed machines, these are all things. Harvesting, about everything we have a mechanism today, and this mechanism did the work to save the energy and time of human efforts. Did you got what I said? These all things did the work to save time and energy of the human efforts. So next what we are going to see in this technology. Knowledge of science and technology was very important to every step, from the making the stone tools to agriculture production in the evolution of mankind. Later, the advancement of science promoted the mechanism of production. It is necessary to know history of technology in order to understand the development of mechanization and the mutual dependence between the science and technology. Why we should study the history of technology? To understand the changes took place or development happened during the period from the evolution of mankind to today's age, and also we have to learn the history of technology to understand the correlation or dependent base of technology and science. So here we have learned that why we should learn technology. Okay, so next we are going to see in this one next point, industry and commerce. Industry and commerce. Industry and commerce. Industry and commerce. So what exactly it contains? Why we must have to learn the history of industry and commerce? That is very essential for our daily routine that we are going to see now. The field of mutual social transactions expands with the growth of industry and trade. See, in a society we live in, because we have some needs and we have to fulfill it, and for that we have to do the transaction with each other, with the family members, with the social members. So that's in that section, industry and commerce contributes more. They give their valuable importance. Then due to the industry, we can do the transaction in the society more. To develop our mutual relationship in society, industrialization and industry and commerce, the relation is very important. It also promotes continuous development of the network of cultural interaction. It is an integral part of industrial and commercial management. It is essential to understand the history of this process. The nature of market and commerce has continued to change. We already know that we are regularly going into the market. We know the prices of many of the commodities, but these prices are getting changed day by day. So we must know the whatever changes up to date. So accordingly, the nature of human relationship and the social organization also has continued the change. To understand this development, it is necessary to study the history of culture, social organization and economic institution. To know the history, to know the development in the field of industry and commerce, to know the development of culture of particular society, the tradition of particular society, we must have knowledge about the transaction of the people and the industrial development. The history of industry, we must have a knowledge about history of industry. Okay. Okay, student. Now fifth one we are going to see in this, the fields in that we have did the research. So fifth one field we are going to see management studies. Already we have studied 4. Now fifth one, management studies. What type of research we have did in that, and also how it is useful for our future, our career. So that we are going to see now. So our fifth point, management studies. In order to understand, suppose you are a leader in the field, any field, so that you have chosen. Suppose you are there, you have to do administration or you have to give a guideline to your followers. So that time you must have knowledge about the management. Otherwise you will not succeed in that field. So we are going to see how it is useful for us. In order to understand various factors involved in the chain of production, such as means of production, human resources and processes of production, as well as the chain of market and sales management. We know we are daily facing many of the chains in the society: sales chain, production chain, market chain. So in that, if we have to do work, we must have a skill of management, etc. It is essential to have a knowledge of similar functional system of the past. Suppose you want to sell any product, and that time how to sell that product, you must gather or collect, and you must have the available knowledge from the history about that management study. It is essential to understand the psychological character of people working at various levels in the chain of production and marketing for healthy management. So you must know the psychology of the people. Now one example I will tell you. In the today's situation, in the everywhere there is a one of the disease, the virus, that corona. In that field, in this atmosphere, in your surrounding, people are thinking only about their essential products for their livelihood or for their daily necessities. They not thinking more to or purchase any expensive thing which are not useful or not more useful. So only they thinking about the essential commodities which are necessary in a day-to-day life. So in a market sections, people are selling that only those things which are very essential for the people, and they have well knowledge in which situation, what type of commodities have to sell. So this knowledge they had got from the history of management study. So whatever recommendation, on basis of that you have to sell your product. So you must have to know the psychology of a particular person to sell that product. If that person have or felt any necessity about that product, you will be succeeding that to sell that product. You have to tell, you have to express, or you have to make that person positive to purchase that particular product with your skills. That's depend on you. Okay, next we are going to see this. In this order to achieve an understanding of social economic institutions that support the industrial and commercial process is important. Knowledge of history in this regard makes the management at various level easier. So at various level we have to manage the tasks, we complete, we attempt it. So that's why we must have a previous knowledge of a history of management skills. Then you can develop well or sell your products. You will manage the chain of productive system in the market or in any other places. Now next field we are going to see from this sixth one, arts. We very well introduced about art, music, dance, painting, sculpture, many other things will come into the art. So very easy thing this one to know. It is very important to understand the development of various forms with the help of their style of expression and their foundation from intellectual, emotional, cultural tradition. Suppose I have any skill. Suppose painting, so we must find out about style of expression. Suppose anyone singing, we must find out history of style of expression, how to sing, we find out in history. How to draw, we must find out how to handle the brush, how to handle the pencil. That we have to learn from that particular field of history. The key to the expression in any art form, emotional temperament of the artist and the developmental history of the respective art form can be understood with the help of cultural history. If you want to develop your skill, your art, you must learn the culture of that particular art. You try to find out the cultural history of that particular art, and then you will get command on emotional development, emotional temperament of the artist, and you can well develop your skill. Okay. Okay, next one, 7th point, we are going to see that humanities. So what exactly humanity contains, that we are going to see, and what type of history about humanity that we are going to see now. Humanities include disciplines like history, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, political science, economics, etc. To understand the history of the origin and development of these disciplines is an essential part of their learning. Suppose you want to develop your career into the field of archaeology, or you want to develop your field into the political science or the anthropology or sociology. So you must have studied well, you must have a knowledge about history of that particular field. These are the disciplines are called humanities. So all disciplines are supposed to have their origin in philosophy. We have to find out the origin, the birth, when they have started, when they have emerged, that we have to find out. Ancient people all over the world try to speculate in order to understand the relationship between the universe and human existence. We will well know, we have a curiosity about the universe. We are studying through the geography and about the human existence. When human came or took a birth, or the origin of human life, origin and also the existence. So about the human existence, we have to find out that through the study of that particular field. It gave rise to various mythological stories about the origin of this world, the universal order, human life, gods and goddesses, rituals, and the philosophical explanations. So we can see many were the stories are there, Ramayana and Mahabharata before 2000 years ago, but exactly we don't have evidences. We have books on it with the form of stories, but actually in the shape of any evidence we do not have today. So as we have to worshipping to our god and goddesses also, so these are the thoughts when they came to an existence. So if we have curiosity, we have to find out, so then we have to study these all disciplines from the humanities section. Rituals, okay. Roots of philosophical ponderings are to be found in these mythological stories. Roots of philosophical ponderings, philosophical events are to found in the mythological stories. Various disciplines under the humanities have theoretical theories. Only historical knowledge can help us in understanding these developmental stages. We have to know, we have to study well with the chronological order. So with the stages, then we have to study the particular history of that field. So next, third 3.3 point we are going to see now, applied history and our present. So this research in various fields is over. So now applied history and our present. Third, applied history and our present. People often ask about the practical value of history. Many of the students also ask to me that, sir, what is the use of history in our regular life, in a practical life, in future or in our career? So main base is the history for inspire yourself for the work. Then you will be successful. Or many other way, so many fields are there related to history, you can work in that. So that few are there, we are going to see. The answer to the question about the nature of applied history, answer this question as well. History, answer this question well. Suppose you want to know the answer of applied history, how it is useful in our daily life. So you will get answer through the history of applied history. Are you getting me what I want to say? You will get information what is the use of history in our daily life. So about that you will get history. If you learn the history of applied history, then you will get knowledge or answer about it. So we are going to see now next one. The visible and invisible relics of the past exist in the present. We nurture some kind of curiosity, attraction towards them. See, visible and invisible relics, the events took place. So about them we have a curiosity to find out, to know more about them. So this curiosity, attraction towards them, we wish to know more about their history because they represent the creative thoughts and traditions of our ancientors. So those are the recreative thoughts and also represent ideas of our ancientors. So that's why we have curiosity to know more about them. Okay, next one. It is our heritage. It helps in building our identity. The history of our heritage links us with our origin. So whatever our heritage, whatever we got by generation to generation, heredity, through heredity wise. So it is our heritage to know our origin, our ancientors and about their life. Hence, it becomes necessary to perspective and conserve it for the future. Whatever all things we have today in the shape of monument, in the shape of tourist place, many other things are there, historical evidences, historical documents we have to preserve and conserve for the future generation. Applied history is a concern with the preservation and conservation of our heritage and make it accessible to the people. So what applied history works on the particular field that we have to conserve and preserve, we have to protect our heritage site and we have to keep it safe for our people. Heritage management creates opportunities for employment, and one of the main important and valuable thing is that in this section, the heritage management, you will get the opportunity of employment. In a brief, applied history can be described as understanding of our present with the help of history and finding right direction for benefit of our future. So applied history, how it is useful in our life, that whatever we are doing in a present, how our present is, that we can know on our based on our past evidences and past events, and whatever right direction we have to choose in a future, our future can be shaped, otherwise or we will get a good and correct direction through the based on past events and past experience. Next one, management of cultural and natural heritage. So many of the cultural and natural heritages are there that we are going to see now. Okay. Okay, students, now we are going to see the management of cultural and natural heritage. Whatever all these are things, natural means world heritage sites are there, and also the cultural sites are there. We have to preserve and conserve, and we have to keep for our next generation, for our people. So for how to manage it, that we are going to see. So our title is that management of cultural and natural heritage. So first we are going to see in this one cultural heritage. It is in the form of human creation. It is of two types of tangible and intangible. So human creation, whatever created by human, that is called a cultural heritage. Peoples who had worked actually on the field and they have invented that, that is called cultural heritage. So in that two sections are there, tangible and what first we are going to see. Tangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes ancient sites, buildings, artifacts, manuscripts, sculptures and paintings. In through the section of art, any person have did work, or a person had the work in the field of ancient sites. These temples are there, caves are there, all things. And also the next, buildings, artifacts, manuscripts, sculpture and paintings. These all things comes into the tangible cultural heritage. Second one there is their intangible cultural side. This type of cultural heritage includes the following things. Which are the following things that we are going to see now? The oral tradition and their language. So orally whatever the stories and any incidents are, any thoughts and people are sharing to in the society, that all comes into the intangible. In another word we can say the invisible, and the first one we have seen that the tangible means the visible things. So traditional knowledge also people sharing through by mouth to mouth, means one person to person, mouth to ear we can also say. So people are sharing in the society, that is called intangible cultural heritage. Next one, social customs and rituals of the celebrating festivals. Suppose we are celebrating some festivals whole year. So these came from past. So these are cultural customs and rituals we are following, we are celebrating the festivals. These are also comes into the section of intangible cultural heritage. So these all don't have, these all things don't have any shape. So we are celebrating, but they are all today also followed by the people, so that's why it comes into the intangible section. Now next one we are going to see in this styles of performing art. So whatever songs are there, whatever dramas are there, these all things will come into the section of intangible field. So next one we are going to see certain traditional skills. Suppose I have any traditional skills which I have got from my father got from my grandfather, and then I got from my father, and then I will teach that my skill to my child. So this type of skills learned by any people, any generation, they following. So these are skills also come into the intangible cultural heritage. Next one, last we are going to see from this one, Communities, groups who represent such a traditions, customs and skills. Suppose any community from the society, any community is there, they following who represent such a tradition and customs and skills. They have about their group any custom, any tradition, they continuing or they following it in the society. So that also come into the intangible cultural heritage. So here today we have learned, students, that management of cultural heritage. In that two sections are there, two categories are there, intangible and tangible. So in short, I want to give you a clue how to remember tangible and intangible. So tangible means which are can visible to our eyes. We can see the paintings, sculptures, cave, monuments, sculpture, all these things. Buildings also, artifacts, all these things comes into the tangible. And intangible means which are the invisible, that we have studied now, just all things, oral tradition and languages, traditional knowledge, social customs, rituals of the celebrating festivals, styles of performing arts, certain traditional skills, and community groups of represent such a tradition, custom and skill. These all things come into the intangible cultural heritage. So students, we have learned 3.4 in that first only half section. Now remaining we are going to see natural heritage, that one remain, that we will study in this next lecture. So you have to give me a feedback in comment. Did you understand did you understand these all points or not, or you have any query, any doubt about the lesson, you can frankly ask in comment box. No problem about it. Okay, here I will stop today. Thank you.